Well, I thought this could be fun to do a deep dive of one of the biggest plays that happened last year, and that was the Scotty Miller Hail Mary touchdown from Tom Brady at the end of the NFC Championship game. I figured I can talk about the obvious and the not so obvious, and let's just start off with the obvious. Let's break down the actual play itself. So here's how it works. It's a cover one robber concept. Why? I don't know. This is, right off the bat, a very dumb play call. I do not understand this play call whatsoever. At least have two safeties deep. And if you are going to, only want one safety deep, you should at least be blitzing then. Covering the middle of the field in this situation really makes zero sense because Tampa Bay isn't going to work over the middle of the field. Just so you know, to remind you of the situation, there is 6 seconds left and Tampa Bay does not have any timeouts left. Now, again, it's halftime, so 3 points is better than 0. They could work something towards a sideline, but covering the middle of the field, it's just pointless. Tampa Bay, however, they are not going to try and get 5 yards and kick a long field goal. They want to go for it all right here. They want a touchdown, and the way they're going to do that is by have 3 receivers run deep. Everyone else is going to block, so 5 offensive linemen and 2 eligible receivers, Rob Gronkowski and Leonard Fournette, will be blocking on this play. Since it's man coverage, both Green Bay players should end up rushing the passer once they realize that the other player is blocking. Also worth noting, the 3 players who are running deep are Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Scotty Miller. Now, talent-wise, there's a clear 1 and a clear number 2, and then a pretty big drop-off to number 3, which is Miller. Obviously, Evans and Godwin are the guys you typically want to pay more attention to. But also worth noting, the fastest of the 3 is easily Scotty Miller. So this is where things get a little bit interesting for Green Bay. Where do you put your best corners on? I understand the logic behind, putting Jair Alexander on Evans, but in hindsight, maybe it could have been better to put a different corner on Miller than Kevin King, who isn't the fastest corner. Once this play starts, you're going to kind of see why that, having 2 safeties deep, or preferably just have 3 players deep and only go with a 3-man rush, is probably the better option right here, because for Scotty Miller, it's a complete one-on-one matchup. The safety is covering the middle. He's taking away Chris Godwin, which is, it makes sense. I understand the logic behind it. You have Jair Alexander on Evans, who you trust him in a one-on-one matchup, even if he is going up against one of the best jump ball receivers in the league. But the issue now is that it's just a one-on-one matchup with Miller and King. That's such a favorable matchup for Tampa Bay when it's a foot race, and so Brady is going to take advantage of that. He throws the ball down the field. They are going to be able to get this touchdown. That was all well and good, but actually it gets a little more interesting when we cut to the other angle. So let's start right here. You'd think that there should be plenty of time to make this throw, right? Because you have both Leonard Fournette and Rob Gronkowski blocking. Gronkowski, has made headlines for how good of a blocking tight end he is. He's going to miss his block on this one. I want you to watch him in particular. Watch. As you see immediately, this is pressure. This is immediate pressure, and this could easily result in, if not a sack, at least a disruption of the play. It is going to actually cause Brady to have to hurry up and throw it a little bit. But even with that, the contact could be made, and it could result in this play not being able to be thrown very well down the field if contact is made. So the key thing to watch on this one is going to be Fournette. He actually picks this up and is able to help finish off the block, which gives Brady just enough time to get the ball down the field. But let's show it again. So another thing I want to take note of is what goes on the left side of the line right here. Because yes, that was great by Fournette, but it actually is even more impressive when you look at what's going on the side of the ball that he is currently lined up on, which is, again, our left, which is the offense's right. There's going to be a stunt right here, which means the interior defensive lineman kind of goes to the outside a little bit towards the tackle, and then you have your edge rusher who kind of runs a little bit towards the inside. Hopefully you can fool the tackle and the guard, but again, Leonard Fournette is there to block, so it's not really something Brady is too worried about. Right when this play starts, however, I'm going to just pause it right here. What's very interesting is that, for one thing, 55, Zadarius Smith, is actually in a bit of a dangerous spot right now. So he moves away from the right guard, who actually isn't their typical starting right guard, too, worth mentioning. That's Aaron Stinney, who actually had a pretty horrible game outside of this particular play. He wasn't very good in this game against Green Bay. Didn't matter. They still won. But he did kind of come through here, where him and Wirfs are going to be able to pick this up pretty nicely. And even though Smith is kind of in a good spot, it's not actually going to cost anything. So another interesting thing is that 51 is showing as though he could be blitzing. So there's a lot of potential pressure, but I think that both Stinney and Wirfs showed enough that Fournette felt confident he didn't have to get over there. Also, Ryan Jensen is actually going to get off the block of Kenny Clark and get over to be in position to block 51, which now means that Fournette basically can look around and not have to panic and go anywhere else. He sees where Preston Smith is, who's all the way to the right, the guy who is, winning his matchup against Gronkowski, and Fournette can now close that off. I mean, watch. I'll maybe show it a couple more times. You see that basically everyone was able to run over, clear up that left side of the screen, which allows for the right side of the screen to get cleared off by Fournette, who is in the play to block, which allows Brady to throw the ball, which allows Miller to burn Kevin King and get open, which of course was set up because of a good play call by Tampa Bay, taking advantage of the fact that extra attention was going to go on Evans and on Godwin, which of course also took advantage of a dumb play call by Green Bay, who were not prepared for a deep shot down the field. A lot of moving parts, very interesting, and all of that combined created one of the bigger plays of the season. So that's why I felt like it deserved its own full breakdown, because it is such a unique situation. They call football the ultimate team sport, right? They say all 11 players have to come through to make a play work, and this one is a very good example of that. I mean, okay, Gronkowski didn't come through. He missed his block, but, he made plenty of other ones. And other than that, you can pretty much point to every single person and say they did something that really helped that play, whether it's making a block or, realizing the block you have to make, just, using the extra attention to help set things up. Donovan Smith also didn't do anything, but that's besides the point. Basically, everyone had an impact, and that was enough to allow the whole play to work. And so that's kind of what makes football fun, is it's not just one guy. A lot of people have to come through, and that is exactly what happens. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this, a little bit more of a unique video. Always love hearing from you. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.